Right, okay. Apologies for the brief intermission. My in-laws just popped by to pick up a coat that they'd...
Okay.
Oh, I've done it again.
Brief.
Hang on, I need to mute myself. There we go. So what I'm going to do is try and work on these claws, I think, now, because I did a basic pass yesterday, but they're a bit wonky still, I think, and I'm going to need to make them a little bit more detailed so that I can add in actual ridges on the pincers and such. So the idea is that they're going to have this ridge of sort of spiky bits, the bit that actually does the gripping. So they sort of do. I had a look, and it seemed to play the chat alongside. I don't know. Did you see something different? I could see the chat as I was scrolling back through. I tested the recording during the intermission, and yeah, I could see the chat. So maybe it's because I had it still in the browser window. Perhaps maybe you've had it popped out or at full screen. I don't know. It seemed to record it anyway. So I've got to try and figure out what to do with this lot here. Oh, and also, whoa, too big. This is the only hinged bit. This part here actually is part of the leg, as it were. So that bit's gonna stay stiff, and then it's just gonna be that bit that moves. So let's see if I can figure out how to do that. So which one is it that's so it's the outside one that needs to stay. Cool, good to know. So it's this one that hinges. So what I might do is add an additional loop around here. I think that will do it, and I'm gonna move these back a bit, like that, so that I can start to form the hinge. So this is now going to be hinging. This is going to stay stiff, as it were. In fact, what I'm going to do is actually I've done too many there. I'm going to pull these out a little to make that a bit more joined and smooth, so that this is a bit more distinct, and then this will become a hinge. So let's pull those back a little bit more. Whoops, not that one. And these two, I think. And I might put one more loop in there, so that there's some. So what the issue is when you animate this bit's going to have to distort somehow. So you need some extra geometry in there, so that when you animate this in and out, this bit stays static, and it's only the few strips of faces that go around this loop here that will sort of distort and bend. So you need a few additional loops just to make sure that works in a sort of sensible way. So I'm going to add one more in there, just to make sure that when I animate it, I can keep everything up to about here, all part of the one bone. So there'll be a bone coming down the arm from the joint here. The bone will be coming down the arm here, and everything from the tip of this particular claw end all the way up to the elbow joint here will be associated with that bone. and then there's going to be an additional bone which will just be this bit here, so that only the bit that needs to move is going to go in and out, and then these faces probably are in this sort of area here. Those are going to be the bits that distort, whereas this bit will stay solid. So it's just going to be this little line that's going to bend. In fact, this guy has a sort of you can see a little ridge here, so I might see if I can reproduce that a little bit. So what I can do actually is I've got this piece here which will naturally form that sort of ridge. So let's go into face mode. Face mode. Yeah, face mode, and grab those two and pull those out a little. There we go. That actually doesn't look too bad. I think this whole section actually has gone a little bit skew-iff, so I might have to, might just have to pull that down a little. Let's go to wireframe mode, circle select. This is really handy. I used to use box select a lot, but circle select can be more finessed in certain situations. So yeah, let me just grab that one manually. And then just drag the whole lot down a little, maybe rotate it a smidge. I think I've probably made a mess of that. But I think if I shrink this line of polygons here, yeah, you see I'm trying to do a loop select, and it's picking the wrong loop. Maybe just tell you what I'm going to do. I'm just going to take it one edge at a time and just manipulate it bit by bit so that I've got a bit more control. There we go. That's a bit better. This bit in the middle here is going to get a bit wonky, so let me deal with that in a minute. That actually isn't too bad now. It looks all right from the side. Maybe I should pull this in a little so that when it deforms, it looks like it's sort of getting absorbed into the body of the crab, into the body of the arm, as it were. So it'll sort of concertina in a little. There we go. That looks a bit more like a hinge. So how to do these little ridgy bits? This is the question, and I was wondering about this last night. I'm considering a separate mesh, which I can just sort of insert in here. So what I did with the teeth for the shark man that I made was actually have each tooth was a separate mesh, and I think I can probably do something similar here because I've got this ridge here. But there's no way I can add enough loop cuts in here to make the detail I want for the pincers. So let us add another mesh and see what we can do. Cube. Start with a cube. Always good to start with a cube. He's added the same cube on that side. And you know what I've realised just now is that my mirror modifier doesn't have clipping, so that I can make Oh, okay. No, that one's all. That's fine. I'm just gonna select that just to make sure, so that you don't end up with a situation where you can pull these out and make a gap. Okay. Oh, crikey, what am I doing? Period key is very useful for recentering on the selection, so that when you rotate, it's not all over the place. And L is good as well. So if you've got a mesh that's all connected in one block like this, if you hit L, it will just select the bits of that mesh. If I just wanted to select the body, because this whole thing is one mesh, you can see it selects everything except the little bit of this cube here that I've done. But if I hover over one of the vertices and hit L, it will just select that, which is neat, because now what I can do is rotate it so that it's in vaguely the right orientation before I continue to manipulate it. Wireframe mode. Okay, that's about right. So, of course, what I've done here, which is really stupid, is you know what? There's a way around this, and I've not used these before. So this is just like in Unity, right? We've got position, rotation, and scale, and because this is in global coordinates, that's no good to me. So if I put it in local, why is that now? Why is it not? Oh, local, not local. I want normal. That was it. So not this bit over here. Let's leave that as global. I think it's oh, that's right. It's the same thing. I don't know why I looked down here for that. Didn't realise that. There you go. So now I can scale it. Oh, that's annoying. Okay, it doesn't work quite the way you expect then. If I grab all of those. Right. Okay, it's not quite the same as in Unity. In that case, what I'm going to do is just literally pull that face that way. And that's going to give me the ridgy bit that I want. So this is going to look a bit odd to start with, but let me just rotate it a bit more. There we go. Let's shrink it on this direction. I quite like 3D modeling because it's sort of it's like a puzzle that you have to solve, except it's the puzzle is how do I make this shape the way I imagine it in my mind, using the limited knowledge that I have. Let's try, if I grab both of those, that will work. And let's move it back a bit. And to tell you what I'm going to do, because this other claw's getting in my way, I'm going to do the this trick of hiding the claw. H, there we go. So, how far along there is? It's probably most of the way along, actually. What I am going to do is pull this in a little. need to rotate it like that. Okay, we're starting to form up the shape of this a little bit better now. I'm going to need a lot of loop cuts, so let's just do that right now. Ooh, what happened there? It's not what I wanted at all. That's what I wanted. Now let's do, how many should we do? A bunch, I think is the right answer. There we go. That looks, ooh, escape, there we go. That's going to be all right, I think. So I can literally just start pulling these individually, probably. Let's move the whole thing back so it's at least partly submerged in there. See, it gets narrower at that end. Yeah, all right, that's actually a good idea. So if I shrink this down to start with, don't like that. Let's try it that way around, and then move it like this. There we go, using just G. Yeah, that matches that a bit better now. Yeah, the programming is a different sort of puzzle. Yeah, I'm still at the point where I'm basically convinced that I'm doing it in the worst possible way with the 3D modeling, but then I'm still like that with programming, and I've been doing that for 10 years, professionally, and I've been making a career out of doing programming. So I think it's one of those things where you're always going to be, I don't know what the right word is. It's like imposter syndrome, sort of what I'm talking about, but you know what I mean. It's you're always convinced that somebody's going to find you out sooner or later, and you don't really know whether what you're doing is sensible or not. But then I suppose half the point is, right, that there are literally an infinite number of ways of doing any one thing in both programming and 3D modeling. So you've just got to kind of work out what it is that that works for you as much as anything, and just do something. Because if you don't, you can get paralyzed with indecision. That's what I find anyway. Constantly just second guessing what I should be doing. So sometimes it's worth just do something, and then work out what it was you should have done later. Because every time you do something like this, you learn something new. Because you made a mistake or you tried something in a slightly different way. I'm just gonna do this one at a time, I think. So this is exactly the sort of situation where I'm sure that there are better ways to do it, but like sometimes it's easier to just do it manually. Although that does tend to make it a little bit messy sometimes. I bet there's loads of really clever ways you could do this sort of thing to make life easier for yourself. I'm always in some respects reluctant to learn too many techniques, because I can't keep them all in my brain at the same time. So falling back on sort of basic stuff that I know how to do. I can get it to work, but I'm always worried that maybe I'm missing out on some sort of really useful technique that perhaps I should spend a bit more time learning. If you know what I mean, it's sort of. See, I bet this is a good situation, right? So I can cheat a little bit by just taking every other one. Now here's where I should have probably thought about this. Oh no! By an amazing coincidence, I've taken the correct number of subdivisions here. This is exactly the sort of thing I do, right? I do something just for the sake of getting something done. Then I get to the point where I need to do some more complicated stuff, and I realise that a decision I made like half an hour ago or something has really hamstrung me, and I'm causing myself all sorts of trouble because of that decision that I made earlier before thinking about what I was supposed to be doing. So here I can do this, like pull these in. Because if I'd accidentally chosen the wrong number of subdivisions here, I would have had to have added an extra one to make this look even remotely sensible. This is actually, you know what, this is looking a lot better than I was expecting. That's a bit too. There we go. I think I'm gonna pull this one in a little bit more. I think I'm going to pull all of these. That one I think I might actually pull. I'm going to grab this guy actually and this guy and pull them out. Maybe have a spreadsheet or something with some keywords around a technique, and then when you think you know there was something on how to do it, you could look it up there. That would be far too organised. Very sensible suggestion. But unfortunately, my natural laziness would make that more or less impossible. Ooh, was that a good idea? I think I may have. I see now. This is the problem with doing things slightly on a wonky axis, is that I've caused myself problems here. But it's all right because I can just move them around. See what is going on with that bit there. What is going on with this bit? I don't rightly know, I've got to admit. Oh, it was just that bit there. Right, I got you. I think that moved that too far. There we go. I mean, it sort of doesn't matter if this is a little bit wonky, right? A Blender cheat sheet would be really useful, thinking about it. It's a good idea. So I'm just sort of forming up these teeth, so there's a little bit more more definition here. So it depends how severe we want these. Starting to get there, I think. This is the problem, everything just takes so long because I'm always second guessing what I should be doing and then changing my mind, and you know, going back and forward. And really, I should just do it. Just get it done. All right, I think we're nearly there. That's not too bad. What do you reckon? Nobody's going to see this. They're not going to, or maybe because if it, you know, if the claws attack you, maybe this is what they're going, the last thing they see before they die. So actually, one thing I'm going to do. Why has that gone to there? Never heard anyone talk about how such a quick process 3D modeling was. This is, I mean, honestly, I bet people who know what they're doing, they could have done all of this in 5 minutes. And it just makes me feel really bad. But why has that gone to there? It's probably because it's on local. Global? Well, thank you for your encouragement. It's there we go. That's it. Right. So if I put that in the middle, then when I do shrink, it will shrink towards that point. There we go. That will work. Just thought I'd make these a little pointier. Yeah, that's looking good. That's looking good. Like every new model I do, I use all the techniques that I've sort of picked up. Oh goodness me, what am I doing here? There we go, like that. In the previous models, and sometimes that makes life easier, and sometimes I get really confused and end up forgetting everything I've learnt. Like things like just moving the cursor around. Like there's this really useful thing where is it now? So you can move the cursor back to the middle, like with, is it Control Shift and C or something? Control Shift Alt C. Set origin. No, that's not it. Was it Shift C? Yeah, Shift C. There you go. So Shift C moves the origin, the cursor back to the origin. And then when you've got something selected, like something like that, if I did a rotation, it will rotate around that point, around the cursor. But if I press comma, the point goes back to your selection. So then if I do rotations, it's rotating around that point there. And if I press period, it goes back to the center. So just that, you know, comma and period, really useful. And I only learned that recently, and that's made my life so much easier in so many different ways. Just stuff like that. Like you forget if you don't do Blender like every other day or something, you sort of forget these things. So, but yeah, oh yeah. So that's the difference, right? So you've got the number pad period key, which is sort of select, you know, move to the selection that you've got here. So you know, if I hit the number pad period key, it will now the rotation will for the camera will go to there, and then the keyboard period key is what then sets the the cursor back over to the origin rather than your selection. So yeah, that's a distinction. Okay, so yeah, it's always the little things. So I'm going to have to somehow. I'm in two minds. Do I copy this over to the other one? So Alt H to unhide my other claw. I think that's what I'm going to do. You know what, this is annoying me. I'm going to just move that in a bit, and this one, and this one. That was the bit I moved out earlier. Oh dear, oh well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab all of these. Now is it Shift D? It's different. You see, it's the opposite in Blender to what it is in Unity. I think it's Shift D. Yeah. So in Unity, I think it's Control D for duplicate, which makes life very confusing. And let's rotate the whole thing around. That's not going to do me any good. I'm going to rotate it in this direction. So line the camera up along the long axis, and rotate, and it will rotate along that direction. Then rotate along that direction. You know what? This might just work. It might just work. Cheating. G. So now, right. Before I go any further, let's do the sensible thing and hide all of these. Like techniques that I didn't know for the first sort of year or so of using Blender, all of a sudden become incredibly useful, and I use them all the time. Ooh, what's going on here? Ah, that's a bit of the teeth. I'll hide that as well. Okie dokie. So grab those again. Let's try and get these in the right position. About there, rotate. See, what doesn't help that I've got a slightly bent. I know what I should have done rather than just rotating it. I should have just flipped it along the, mirrored it along the axis. Never mind, it will be fine. So what I'm going to do is just basically manipulate it by hand anyway. Is that going to work if I do that? Yeah. Cheating. A little bit of wonkiness. Never hurt anyone. Oops, let's do that. And just that line of edges, there we go. Okay, that's probably all right. Maybe this pull this in a bit, maybe. Pull that in, make it a bit more pronounced. Alright, let's see what that looks like overall. Well, at the moment it looks kind of mechanical a little bit, but once I've got the texture on there, hopefully it will look a bit more organic. Let's see what it looks like in object mode. Oh, it looks a bit better in object mode. If I smooth that off, that will. If I smooth the apply smooth shading to the main part of the claw, and then maybe leave these flat shaded so that they look more jagged. Don't know. See how it looks, or maybe try smooth shading on all of them. In fact, that's something I was going to try. There's a little trick with a modifier that can. Yeah, I'm reasonably pleased with that actually. Now, what was it? I tried this before. Add modifier. Subdivision surface. That's not what I want. Mirror. Deform, generate, modify. Smooth. Edge split, that's not what I want. It's one of these. Deform, smooth, it must be smooth. Oh no, that's wrong. I can't remember. It's one of these modifiers. Corrective smooth. Maybe it isn't a modifier. I was convinced it was a modifier. Tools, see shading. No, you know what? Yeah, that's not too bad. Oh crikey! It's that early in the morning, is it? Yep, no, cool. Thanks for dropping by. It's been nice to have you around. These are all getting recorded now, so you know, you can always catch up with what I've been doing later, if you so wish. But don't feel obliged, of course. Take it easy, dude. I don't know. Maybe it's part of the mesh. No, that's vertex groups. It's got to be one of these modifiers. Edge split. Ah, maybe this is the one I want. So I think what you do is you set this to 180. Sharp edges, edge angle. Split edges with high angle between faces. Split edges that are marked as sharp. So if I turn that off, then go in here, if I wanted to make that a crease, mark it as sharp. Is this what I need? Control E, mark sharp. There, yes. Yes, that's what I wanted. Right, so this enables me to, this little modifier enables me to apply smoothing to everything, except edges that I've marked as sharp. So that now looks sharp because it's not blending the normals between those. So that's cool. So I can actually make some of this. I can make this sharp here. is it that one I want sharp? I think it's this one that I want sharp. What's that going to select when I do that? And this one here, I think. Control E, mark sharp. Yeah, you see now that looks like a separate piece. Do I want that? Don't know at this point. I can always clear that. See how we get on. Woo! So let's do the rest of these. Control E, mark sharp. There we go. Control E, mark sharp. Yep. Crabs have many legs. Are they the same? Are they the same family as spiders? I don't know. No, they're arachnids, aren't they? And these are crustaceans. Okay, that's all right. That's looking good. It'll all come down to how this animates to see whether or not that's the right thing to do. So, do I need to make any of these seams sharp underneath here? I probably, oh, they look really wonky, don't they? I'm hoping that when I texture that, that's going to look a lot nicer. The knees all look a little bit jagged, but again, I'm hoping that that's not going to be too big a problem. I see the problem. There's a bit of twisting going on. I think that might not be helping. But again, might not worry too much about that. I mean, these mandibles aren't. Oh dear, they're not great either. But let's see how it goes. So if I set the shading back to flat. I think I need to select all. Smooth, flat. Yeah, it's going to look a lot better once it's textured. Okay, so what next? I think the question is, do I texture it now or do I rig it now? I think it's still not quite up high enough for these. Bones. In fact, you know what? I've made a mistake here. What I should have done was bend it here, not there. So I might just go through the process of moving those back again. So all that stuff I did earlier was a bit of a waste of time. It's not a problem, really. So I'm going to have to do this again. Circle select all the leg. Oh, actually that's the problem here. I need to do that. So I think is it middle? Yeah, middle mouse button when you've got circle select deselects them, which is very convenient. So let's do that, and then right click confirms the selection. So set it to the bottom there, and I think what I'm going to do is angle it so that it's approximately along the line. Like that. that. Deselect. There we go. And I'm going to do the same thing here. So it bends kind of down like that. Yeah, that's not too bad. I think these feet are going to have to get moved a little bit. I'm going to grab the entire model and move it up again. There we go. A bit more maybe. So ultimately these feet should sit on the ground, I think. Like I say, I don't really know quite how a spider crab, because like, have they just posed this guy like that because that's what they look like when they're walking around, or you know, is that realistic? It's a good question. Maybe I should find out. Oh, this guy's still eating away. Let's get rid of that actually. Giant spider crab. Oh, okay, so they do. Right, that's interesting then. So maybe that's the way I should pose it, so that it's a bit more upright on these legs, and these are sticking out almost horizontally. So this isn't a million miles off then. Alright then, let's go with that. Let's try and pose him in a vaguely sensible way. So I think I'm going to have to go a lot higher then in that case. Up like that maybe. Yep. Grab all that lot. Oh, we used the wrong button. There we go, the wrong mouse selection. That's better. Okay, so rotate them. I'm going to rotate it up actually slightly, because I think that's going to look a little bit more intimidating. And then bend it. Which leg does it bend at? The first knee actually. The second one is almost straight. So this knee, you know, do I even need this knee? How many knees does a crab need? This is the question. Apologies for the slight delay there. Just checking on a message. Also, I think I'm going to need to rotate these back a little. But let's not worry about that just yet. And there, yep. Okay, that's made that a little bit wonky. So let me just move that whole thing up a little and out a little. There we go. I can tidy these joints up. Actually, this one's gone a bit weird as well. Let me deal with that now while I'm here. There we go. A lot of 3D modelling is just a process of making mistakes and then fixing it later. There we go. That's a little bit better. There's still some slight distortions and whatnot, but there we go. That's probably all right. Probably, like I say, can be fine-tuned at a later date. So these knees, really don't know. So let's finish off the bending of these legs. Do you tell what, if I bend it from the top, it's not going to distort quite so much. Let's do a bit of both. Oh goodness me, that looks pretty terrible. I think something went a bit wrong with the rotation area, but that's fine. I can just manipulate that manually back into place. Yeah, that's not too bad. Let's rotate that one around as well. Rotate around the selection rather than the origin. There we go. The process of breaking and fixing one's model is never ending. Right. So select again. Rotate about the cursor. There we go. Yeah, so I think because he's got a short, the leg at the back is quite short, so I think that one actually does stay a bit low, but we can deal with that. Might move this a little that way, and I might take this loop and move that way as well to fix that slightly wonky bit from before. Yeah, you see it's all twisted. I think I can probably do a little bit of manipulation there. Looks pretty bad actually. See how that works. Part of the problem is that this one actually is, yeah, it's rotated in the wrong direction that way. Alright, that's a bit better. I think I'll just pull that down. Maybe rotate it like that. It's gone a bit weird here. Just move that around a little until it's vaguely right. Maybe just this one vertex. That's a bit better. There's a slight twisting under here. I'm not sure I'm going to worry too much about that at this stage. Might fix it later. Okay, so yeah, the crazy flying crab. Right, this is getting to be a little bit more involved than I was expecting. So I'm going to take a break now because I've been doing this for a little while. So I'll be back in maybe after lunch, something like that. But yeah, thanks for watching. Catch you in the next stream.